Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights.
In this video, we are going to discuss about the most frequently asked questions in Databricks Associate Engineer Examination. This is in continuation of Databricks certification playlist. In the previous video, I explained about the exam overview and its syllabus. If you have not watched that video, then you can watch that first and come back to this particular video. I have pinned the previous video in the I bar. So let's get started. A data engineer is designing a data pipeline. The source system generates files in a shared directory that is also used by other processes. As a result, the files should be kept as is and will be accumulated in the directory. The data engineer needs to identify which files are new since the previous run in the pipeline and set up the pipeline to only ingest those new files with each run. Which of the following tools can the data engineer use to solve this problem? It could be a Databricks SQL, Delta Lake, Unity Catalog, Data Explorer, or Autoloader. So here, as a responsibility of a data engineer is basically to identify only the new files since the previous run in the pipeline. Let's say there's a 1000 million records are there in the directory. So every time you don't want to use all those 1000 million records because every day you are only getting, let's say 100 records, right? So out of 100 records, you only want to ingest those 100 records, not the 1 million records, right? Because it will take much more time. So you have to identify these 100 new records and put those new records into your pipeline and ingest that particular data only. So how you will achieve that? Databricks SQL is just used to go ahead and query it in the SQL dashboard, right? Or in the SQL editor. It doesn't have anything related to how you can go ahead and get the new files. Definitely you can write some custom logic, but you don't need to do that because Databricks provides the feature where you can ingest only the new files. Then you have Delta Lake, which is not correct. Then you have Unity Catalog. The main responsibility of Unity Catalog is for data governance and not basically to capture the new files that are coming in. Plural, if you will see, all the data is there. It will go ahead and bifurcate what all tables, databases, other Unity Catalog data is also stored, right? So this is also not right. But the autoloader has an inbuilt feature where it can go ahead and detect the new files that are coming in. So the right answer for this particular question is autoloader. Let's move on to the next question. A data engineering team is in the process of converting their existing data pipeline to utilize autoloader for incremental processing in the ingestion of JSON file. One data engineer comes across the following code block in autoloader documentation. Okay, so this particular code block, the data engineer found it in the documentation. Assuming that the schema location and source path has been set correctly, so it says the schema location and the source path is set correctly. Which of the following changes does the data engineer needs to make to convert this code block to use autoloader to ingest the data? The autoloader has a functionality. If you have the read stream here, okay, and you have mentioned the format as cloud files, it detects that it is an autoloader query. So the inclusion of this particular format, cloud files, enables the autoloader itself. In this particular example, it says the data engineer needs to change the format cloud file line to format autoloader. It's not required because cloud files means only it is enabling the autoloader. Then there's no change required. Databricks automatically use autoloader for streaming reads, which is correct. But if you don't mention the cloud file, it will not detect that it is an autoload. Okay. So there's no change required, but the inclusion of the format cloud files enables the use of autoloader. This is also correct. So if you will see, there is one catch here in this particular example that I got. It says one of the data engineers come across this particular code block in autoloader documentation. Particular query should be actually correct, right? There should not be any mistake. If there's any mistake, means Databricks documentation has not given the correct information. But there's one twist. If you don't know whether it needs actually to get some permission from the administrator, then you may mark this particular thing. So it actually doesn't need any administrative privileges. Go ahead with the next question that we have. Which of the following data workloads will utilize bronze table as its source? A job that aggregates clean data to create standard summary statistics, a job that queries aggregated data to publish keys insights into dashboard, a job that ingests raw data from a streaming source into lakehouse, a job that develops a feature set of machine learning application, a job that enriches data by passing its timestamp into a human readable format. So let's first focus on what is a bronze table, right? What is a silver table? What is a gold table? Then you will be able to answer all these questions that you have. So if you will see in this documentation, there is a bronze layer first, then you have a silver layer, gold layer. So in the bronze layer, it is basically the raw ingestion. It actually ingests the data either by batch and streaming from those to the bronze layer. After you have all the raw data in the bronze layer, then there is a filtration or some cleaning of the data, some duplicate data are removed, and then it is stored in the silver layer. This silver layer is also in some business or in some projects called staging layer. Then from this particular silver layer, all the aggregations are done and then stored into the gold layer. After you have the data in the gold layer, then the dashboards are created on the top of the gold layer, which can be a Tableau, which can be a Power BI, or a machine learning model runs on this particular gold layer. So this particular data is actual data that is being used by most of the team because it's particularly cleaned and is aggregated based on the project requirement. So let's move on to our question. Utilizes a bronze table as its source, right? It doesn't do an aggregated clean data. So it has to be a source. Bronze is the source of it. So it doesn't have the aggregated clean data. It doesn't have the aggregated data. A job that ingests raw data from the streaming source into the lakehouse. No, it is actually not, because bronze is not the source of it. It's the batch or the streaming. A job that develops a feature set of machine learning application. This is done on the top of the gold layer. A job that enriches data by parsing its timestamp into a human readable format. So basically, yes, it passes its timestamp, it converts it into human readable format, and then store it into the silver table. Let's move on to the next one. Which of the following data workloads will utilize a silver table as its source? So in the previous question, we had the bronze table, okay? Now in this question, you have a silver table as its source. So let's read out the option. A job that enriches data by passing its timestamp into a human readable format. This is not there because this is the silver one that we just saw it in the previous slide. And then a job that queries aggregated data that already feeds into the dashboard. This is also not correct because this is the gold one. Then a job that ingests the raw data from a streaming source into the lakehouse. Not correct. A job that aggregates the clean data to create a standard summary statistics. Means the standard summary statistics is basic your goal, and this aggregated clean data is silver layer. From the silver layer to your gold layer is basically this particular answer is looking for. So basically this is the D is the option for this question number 30 that we have. Let's move on to the next question. Here also we have the same kind of a question. Basically it has a structured streaming query and it's performing a hop from a bronze table to a silver table. So which particular answer will be correct? Just think about it for a second. You will be able to answer this question by your own. So it's from bronze to silver. And what is exactly the silver? It's your basically the cleaned data, right? Here, if you will see, the table name is aggregate sales. So basically we can rule this particular out and we are not doing any aggregation on the silver, right, to get the silver table. So this is not correct. Same thing as this aggregated, this is not correct. Now you have a clean sales here, which seems to be correct. Here you have unclean sales. This is also not right. So I will just ignore these two and let's focus on this. You have an average price, which is actually doing some cleaning of the data, you can say, or some aggregation on the top of that. There's a with column. It has added a column on the top of that particular table to get your clean data. So basically this is your correct answer for this particular question. If you like this video, then hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to share it with your friends who need it.
Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.